Hi, crafty friends. Welcome to another episode of Angela Shows You. Today, I thought that it would be a great opportunity to take a few minutes and show you how to make a hair scrunchie. So, a lot of, girls like to wear their hair pulled up in a ponytail, and they can get kind of pricey to buy, and it is super easy to make your own. So, I am going to show you how to make your own hair scrunchie. And the nice thing about these is you can use a wide variety of materials. You can use cotton, satin, you could use, like a more fabricy material. You could use a light fleece even if you wanted to. You could use a velour. There's tons of different options and how to make a scrunchie, and you can also make them as wide full as you want. So what I actually tend to do though is I have cut mine to about 3.5 inches wide, and I cut them to be about 21 inches in length. Now you can cut these wider, of course. You could also cut them a little bit longer, depending, on how many times, if you wrap it around your hair 2 times or 3 times, it really is going to depend on how tight you want that to be pulled. So, but I do 3.5, and then, like I said, about 20, I would say 20 to 22 is a really good length to cut the material. So I've already cut them out, and I gave them a good press, so I have a nice seam going down, and you are going to fold it. So I folded it right sides together, and you can tell this is kind of a lime green with kind of like a little bit marbly pattern in it. And this is just 100% cotton piece of fabric. So I ironed right sides together. And then what you're going to want to do is you're just going to, additionally, I like to fold. So you've got it right sides together. To make a nice seam, you're going to take your material and you're going to fold the right side over this way, and then fold it back in half. So that gives you kind of a little flap. And then we're just going to sew from one end all the way down to the next end. And of course, we're going to want to back tack a little bit at the start and finish so that we really get locked in nicely. There we go. Okay, so then what you're going to want to do is I bought these on Amazon, but you can also buy them on at Joann's. I've seen them, and I actually did a video the other day kind of explaining that I usually shy away from recommending a retailer to make purchases at, because it really depends. Now these tube turners, when I did the video about a week ago, the tube turners were actually on sale at Joann's, so they were cheaper at Joann's than they were purchasing them on Amazon. But mine came in a 3-pack. So I got like a real wide one, a medium one, and a real skinny one. So they say on them, so this one's 3/16 for 3/8 to 5/8 in fabric tubes. The big fat one is a 1/2 inch for 1 inch and bigger fabric tubes, and then the medium one is 3/8 inch for 3/4 to 1 inch fabric tubes. So these make real quick work of turning a tube inside out. So you're just going to insert all right, and then leave a little bit of fabric on one end, okay? And then you're going to take, I tend to use the dull side. It's got a pointed end and a dull end. I usually use the duller end, and you're just going to push it. I didn't give enough. Push that in. Nope, I did not give. I didn't have enough material. And then all I do on the end that we had is I just work it back in. So then you have one end that has a nice finished seam, and the other end is raw. So to demonstrate that one more time, leave yourself a nice leeway. Push the end through. Okay, and then we're just gonna tuck our finished seam back in. That's it with that. Okay, and then you're gonna want, now I cut my elastic about 7.5 inches, and you can use any width of elastic. You know, it really depends on how thick, how puffy do you want. I mean, I wouldn't go super duper wide on the elastic, but you certainly could go wider than this, 1/4 inch. I go anywhere 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch piece of elastic, and then you're gonna just feed it through the tube. So you saw I had a safety pin, and that just helps give something like stiff to kind of grab onto. And you're just going to feed that through. I think doing the elastic is probably what takes the longest out of doing this whole thing, because these are super fast to do. But you're just going to feed the elastic through. Make sure that you keep a grip on this other end. You don't want to let go of it, because then it'll just go up into the tube. You don't want to lose it. Okay. So then what we're going to do is we are going to take our two raw ends, and we're going to just overlap them a little bit and we're going to stitch these two ends together so that it has a closed loop. And I go back and forth a few times in the machine to really secure that. That didn't catch for some reason. There we go. There we go, it did that time. Okay, so you can see I went back and forth over it a few times, really securing it in. I am going to just go ahead and trim those off. Okay. Almost there. So then you're just going to take the raw end and we're going to tuck it into the end that we finished. And you're going to want to tuck it in a little bit, okay? Because we have to sew this closed, so you want enough so that the threads catch. And I do try and line up my seams. So then we're just going to stitch. We're going to start up at the top and I'm just going to stitch down and I'm going to stop right about where the elastic is so that I don't sew the elastic. So of course we'll trim off that little piece of thread. And there you go. Scrunchie. So you can see if you would have cut this longer than the I cut this, like I said, 21 inches. If you did it 20, it would be a little bit smaller. You could, if you have fine hair, you know, maybe you want to do it 18 inches so it's even a little bit smaller, you know, whatever. Play around with it a little bit and see what works for you. Maybe you want it you know, you want a nice wide one, so you could cut this maybe 4 or 4.5 inches instead of 3.5. So super customizable, but as you can see, super easy to do. It only takes a couple minutes and you can make yourself a whole collection. These are great things to use some scrap fabric on. And there you go. Piece of cake. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, I hope that you will give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet subscribed to Angela Shows You, I hope that you do, because it does help me as I work on growing my channel. All right, see you next time.